And you're back to Prime Morning. My name is Dua Akumia. Thank you for tuning in with us right here on Joy Prime. And so it's time for us to delve into what the newspapers are reporting this morning. Then we get into the topics for discussion during this segment. And yeah, I'll definitely introduce my guests to you as well. So let's get started with our first newspaper, which is Daily Graphic. Daily Graphic is the first newspaper. On the front page, we have National Service Scheme Ready for Autonomy. And the banner headline is 115 billion Ghana cedis goes into education since 2017. OSP, FBI investigates Cecilia Dapa and then give us mandate to purchase food for students. CHAS demands from government. Okay. Next one is Daily Guide. Daily Guide is the next newspaper. On the front page, we have Nana NPP bigwigs storm Theresa's 1 week. FBI probes Cecilia Dapa hospitalized over food poison. 13 hospitalized over food poison, and then Akufo-Addo touts education record. The next newspaper is the Business Finder. The Business Finder is the next newspaper. On the front page, we have inflation rate drops to 38.1% thanks to BOG's monetary tightening policy and the plastic shoe firm to employ 10,000 workers in 5 years. GA leads fight against harassment violence at the workplace. The next newspaper is Ghanaian Times. Ghanaian Times on the front page, STEM education, government targets Ghana as leader in Africa, rolls out programs for groundbreaking projects to achieve goal. 61 aggrieved customers of former Gold Coast Securities picket, but SEC appeals for calm. Nyaho Tamaklo Nuno Mensah urged government to address social unrest ahead of 2024 elections. FC confiscates assaulted bushmeat from chopbars and traders. GHS records 40,716 mental health cases in 6 months. The final newspaper for this morning on the front page, which is the New Crusading Guide. The New Crusading Guide on the front page, we have Akufo-Addo touts investment in education, says record is unmatched. UPS say VC ignores courts, goes ahead to develop Impewasam land. And then bring up Osobwahin to court, even if he requires an ambulance. This is a secondary high court order. And then Brainsfield committed to protecting Nidoju Clote family properties. IGP tape, Superintendent Jebi Asari commits perjury. Accusers make U-turn at in-camera hearing. And that's what these newspapers are reporting this morning. Please get interactive with us on all our social media platforms. Our WhatsApp line is 055-157-5757. 055-157-5757. Or you can go to our Facebook page, which is Joy Prime, and go into the comment section and start sending in your comments in relation to all the topics that will be discussed on here. So let's get started with our very first topic for discussion, which is that there has been about hundreds of people in the Volta region are currently displaced due to spillage of the Akosombo Dam, and this is actually conducted by the Volta River Authority, and it is important that they do this also. That's what they say. Usually when there is an inflow of water in the dam, and so they would have to allow the dam there to be spillage. But the news here is that they said that on September 12, they alerted the necessary stakeholders as to the spillage that would happen. And so they say that they told the rights people, that they let people know. And mind you, this is not the first time that there's been VRA is doing or conducting the spillage. It's been happening a lot, and they always say that they give people caution. They caution people before the activity takes place. But people still end up being displaced every single time there's a spillage of the Akosombo Dam. And so that's our first topic for discussion. Let me introduce my guests to you. I have seated to my immediate right Nana Kwame Asafoiche, who is a Deputy Director of External Affairs from the New Patriotic Party. Nana Kwame.
Yeah, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good too.
It's been
a while.
A while.
I'm doing well. I mean, I'm in my village, home.
You're in your village?
Yeah.
What village?
Home. Cultivating some cabbage, some other stuff here, tomato, rice, I feel a bit. So it's been well, it's been nice.
Nice.
Yeah, sure.
Oh, so you are on the Operation Feed Yourself?
Well, I'm not feeding only myself. I'm feeding people like you too. You enjoy cabbage, right?
I do.
Yeah, so
very healthy. So you bring me some?
Next time I'll bring you some cabbage.
Thank you very much for that kind gesture. And seated to my extreme right is Comrade A.A. Gafaru, Northeast Regional Communication Officer from the National Democratic Congress, NDC. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
Actually, I'm not fine.
Oh, what's wrong?
And not just this morning.
Okay.
I've not been fine as a person coming from the Northeast, the very region of His Excellency Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. You know, over the last 6 years, anytime they release data on statistics regarding, inflation, we have always, been badly affected. The figures is usually exponential. For instance, just on Tuesday, let me very fast state that on Tuesday, when government statisticians release data with regards to our current position as far as inflation is concerned, sadly, Northeast again, contrary to the national average figure, has been exponentially having a figure of 54.4%, and the national average figure is 38.1% as we speak.
Yeah, but so that is a drop.
No, it is telling you that I'm talking about Northeast. It is telling
Northeast,
you, yes,
okay,
that is translating to you the unbearable, painful hardship that we've been going through under our own uncle, His Excellency Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, who is the head of the economic management team. People who hitherto could, support not less than 10 people who would depend on them for food. Currently, as we speak, because of the painful and excruciating hardship, can barely afford one single meal a day. That is the situation. It is about bread and butter issues.
So don't you think that nationwide it's dropping, the inflation dropping, so that's 8.1%? Doesn't this look optimistic to you?
Compare the figure, Ashanti, 3.1 inflation. Nationally, we have 38.1. Exponentially, we are having Northeast 54.4%, and you are saying that it is fine, it is dropping. Perhaps it has plummeted somewhere else, not in the Northeast, not where the Vice President is coming from. And of course, let me very fast state that, look, the good people of Northeast are well awake, and they are waiting to express their resentment come 2024 at the polls. That is just what I will tell my uncle, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia.
Kwame, do you have any response to give?
Is there a response? These are preliminary comments.
He has to, because he was given some side. He was humming and,
It is sad, the fixation of my brothers.
Okay.
When it comes to Dr. Bawumia. I don't know. I think he has a script he's coming. I don't even know whether he's going to speak to the topics that have been given. For them, whether the question has to do with birds or nothing, even if it's asked about forests, just say the forest is a place where we have trees, and the trees, you have birds landing on the trees. So therefore, what is a bird? A bird is... I don't know why they cannot say a word without Dr. Bawumia. Sometimes I sit down and ask myself, why? Look, I am going to compete with you. If you put a goalkeeper A into the pool, I'll score you. What do you think I would do? Keep quiet.
Okay.
And you put goalkeeper A into the box.
Okay.
Then I can score you as many as I want. So I don't know why you claim that he is not a match. You claim that your people...
By every opportunity they get,
you
they
claim
bring
that
him
your
out.
people will punish him in Northeast. Why don't you keep quiet so that the NPP will make a mistake and bring the person your people will punish? Why? So I don't get this fixation. I don't get it. Look, the entire global space has experienced some hardships. Very huge hardships. Even the national figure, you could see where it was hovering around. So I am not surprised that the national figure is coming down, which hopefully will trickle down in all these regions that we are seeing. And I believe the Northeast issue will change as well.
Okay.
So it's a matter of time. And just not Ghana, everywhere. But these people, Dr. Bawumia, did you sleep well? No, Dr. Bawumia came to my dream. I couldn't sleep. Charlie, have you eaten well? No, Dr. Bawumia. Anyway, let's see. Let's finish the 4th November and let's see who the NPP will bring, and then we'll see whether, the people will punish him or the people. Look, since the inception of Dr. Bawumia in the Northeast region, let him tell us the result. Let him tell us. This was the reason that NPP hadn't won before. Let him tell us. Let him tell us the parliamentary results.
I think that's not a topic. This was barely a
preliminary. So you know it was not the topic.
No,
so you know it was not. Hold on. So you know it was not the topic.
She asked, am I well? And I'm saying I'm not well, and giving the reason why I'm not well.
Yeah, that is what I'm talking about. So it's like, even when Charlie, how is your girlfriend? No, he's not even minding.
He's not even.
Dr. Bawumia,
he's not even speaking or responding to the issues.
I actually wanted him to respond to what you said, and so yes, that's perfectly okay. So Nana Kwame Nkrumah, thank you so much for your submission on this one. Now let's move on to the topic, the very first topic for discussion, which is the spillage of the Akosombo Dam that has currently displaced hundreds of people in the Volta region. And let me come to you, Gafaro.
Thank you so much. With regards to this very unfortunate situation, the question I usually ask myself, I'm not a technocrat as far as this is concerned, but the question I usually ask myself is that, is it not possible that the engineers who do the spillage, would do the spilling gradually so as to allow water to pass steadily or slowly, in order not for the water to overflow into communities where people, are residing. It seems to be becoming perennial, just like what is happening in Northeast, as when they spill the Bagre Dam. Currently, as we speak, people are, also struggling to salvage their property in my region, Northeast, and then parts of the Upper East.
Okay.
So this is internal. We have control as to how we spill it or as to how we don't do it, right? And we are doing the spillage, I understand, to prevent a catastrophic effect of the high inflow, or high inflow of water into the dam, Akosombo Dam. So if we are doing that, it never took one day for the water to get to, a level that cannot be contained, and so we need to spill it. So if it doesn't take one day or one single day, why can't we also do that gradually, days after days, days after days? Do we need to do it just at once? That is for the technocrats to speak to. But what is more intriguing is the fact that the displacement of people within the Volta enclave started a week ago. And sadly enough, this government, through NADMO, has not provided any relief item, has not gone to the ground to give support to these people who are embattled as far as this is concerned. And of course, mind you, this is not a natural disaster, right? This is something that we intend doing. So, of course, the anticipated effects were obvious.
But somebody would also say that this is something that happens quite often.
Yes.
This is not the first time that there's been a spillage of the dam. And every single time, like I mentioned earlier, VRA brings out an official statement to announce that this is what would happen. And so people should do the necessary things. But you still have them, although there have been time and time again where they have experienced the flooding in these areas, you still have people going to live in these same areas.
Let me tell you something. Where people are facing the problem, they are not, staying on water pathways that we will say that they should evacuate permanently. No, these are cautions that are given. So, as I'm saying, NADMO, we have a disaster management organization as a country. NADMO should have put things in place to ensure that once the unfortunate thing happens, because it's obvious that people could, be affected through the spillage, especially if it is not done steadily. So one that is anticipated puts resources together to ensure that in the instances or events that such happens, then you move in quickly. But over a week now, this is happening and nothing has been done about it. And mind you, the effects has even transcended just flooding and then destroying properties. No, as we speak, the Sogakope, I hope I've gotten the name right, Sogakope, electricity bulk supply point has been affected, and for safety measure, ECG has shut down the plant, and you know the cascading effect. Currently, as we speak, Anloga, Akachi, Adidomi, Keta, and including Sogakope and its surrounding communities, have no electricity. As we speak, they are doing business, going to affect their business in this current economic difficulty that we find ourselves. You know, electricity, we use it to do almost everything as we speak. And now they are also going to be in economic situation. It's going to exacerbate their economic situation, their hardship, their painful hardship that this government in the first place has imposed on them. You understand? So what I'm saying is, look, somewhere in August 2017, this very government, our own government that cannot send relief items to the people of Volta, in August 2017, when disaster floods happened somewhere in Sierra Leone, my uncle Dr. Bawumia quickly arranged for relief items to be supplied to Sierra Leone. You understand? And also still promised that they would have added more. I don't know whether they did added some. So this is far away country, but your own people, if currently as we speak, the president is jostling around somewhere, the Americas. Jostling around for attention, because we know very well that he's not going to bring anything back home, which is going to be critical to salvaging our current situation. No.
Now, speaking about relief items, like you mentioned, in situations like that, oftentimes you come in with relief items knowing very well that in such a situation, they were unaware. There was no caution, there was no alarm here and there to let them be aware that this is what could happen. But it just happened, like a natural disaster. It just happened. But then with this one in particular, they are cautioned. The alarm goes off that, hey, this is what is about to happen. I remember last year, we sat here having the same discussion, because around this year, VRA had to do a spillage. And then hundreds of people were displaced last year. And then one concern that came up was in relation to who gives out these lands and these properties. Who exactly do they go to say that, okay, is this place safe for us to stay? Is it okay? Is this place authorized for us to stay at? That topic for discussion was on the table last year, and then we are doing same again this year. And so I don't know exactly what these people are doing. It's like there's no town planning, if that's how I should put it.
You know, you seem to be underestimating the ravaging effect of this whole spillage, dam spillage, and then flooding.
Not at all.
One thing, there are things that we can't control. Are you going to tell me that currently as we speak, over 500 households in the 3 Tongu districts, South Tongu, North Tongu, and Central Tongu, are affected, and they are struggling to salvage their property? Are you going to tell me that they all were supposed to be evacuated? Where? To where? I hope you are getting it. To where are they going to evacuate their belongings to? That is what we are talking about. I didn't want to go in this dimension, but of course it's as if this government seem consistently not to care about the people of Volta. This hasn't been the first time that they lackadaisically stood watching Voltarians to suffer. You remember, in the past years, the Ketu, when the sea defense, hasn't been continued, and then of course flooding comes within the coastal areas. It took how many, weeks for government to send relief items? It took President Mahama and the NDC, President Mahama's office, to support them with, mattresses, to support them with food, right? And the government that, is supposed to account for their stewardship as far as governance is concerned, and is supposed to take responsibility, stood aloof and watched them suffer, right? This hasn't been the first time. In fact, in other aspects, we saw a whole government coming out with a budget year of rules and budgeted for every region except the Volta. This seems consistent neglect of the Volta people. And I'm saying, look, this is expected. They knew what is going to happen. You've cautioned. If those who are living maybe within river banks that you think there are channels that the water will pass, fair enough. But this moving as far as to all the central 3 districts of the Tongo, the Sogakope, and the K2, look, it is telling you that this was anticipated and it is not a natural disaster. It is obvious that this would happen. And of course, any responsible government needed to put things in place to salvage the situation, to put resources available with NADMO to ensure that they rush in and then augment the situation and then help them out of the mess that is happening, which is not by any way they are making, but which is as a way to prevent or avert a bigger disaster, assuming the Akosombo Dam collapse as a result of them not spilling the water. That is what we are talking about. So I would not, and I don't think anybody should stay in and then try to speak for the government because they know they have failed. They know they have not taken their responsibility. And I'm very sure my brother Asafaji would also empathize with the people of Volta, those who are currently going through these challenges. It's not fair. It's not fair.
Okay. All right, Nana Kwame.
Okay, so first and foremost, let me read the story for you.
Okay.
This is the official page of the NADMO director.
Okay, so this is what, about 8 hours ago?
That was yesterday.
Yes, so yesterday, yes.
He posted yesterday.
Today, I visited communities that have been affected by flooding due to a spillage of the Akosombo Dam by the Volta River Authority. A total of 9 districts have been affected by the floods. I joined the evacuation of victims as well as the inspection of safe havens. I also presented relief items from VRA and NADMO to the victims in the affected districts. I was accompanied by the Deputy CEO VRA Services, Mr. Ben Arthur, my deputies, my deputies, Mr. Abu Ramadan and Mr. Seji Saji, MMDCEs and NADMO directors from the affected districts in North Tongu. The team was joined by Honorable Samuel Okudjeto Ablakwa, Member of Parliament for the area, and there are pictures to back it as well.
So clearly it tells you, my brother, again, it's not on top of the issues.
Okay.
When was the spillage done? It was done on yesterday.
Yeah.
It was done yesterday. And yesterday, this presentation was made.
No, it was actually on Saturday. Yes.
Saturday. And yesterday, this presentation was made. So if you sit here and create the impression as to NADMO hasn't done anything, then I ask myself, is it that you are in a haste to impress somebody watching you or to impress a party or something? Or you are speaking to a certain speaking note? Even your member of parliament for Northton, I am from the area. Look, I am an Akosombo boy, 100%. I was born there, I grew up there, I schooled there. I know this dam, and I know how periodically some of this spillage is done. There are times it is done from the Bagri and Yafe because it picks its source from the north. When you look at the nature of the dam, I was watching the map. It picks its source from the top. So when it's getting full, there's a limit which you need to get to, so that when you don't spill it, it will collapse the turbines, and you cannot stand the collapse of the turbines. Already we are complaining about the electricity and all that, so you cannot stand the collapse of the turbine. So it must be released, it must be spilled. Look, it's been a while I went to Akosombo.
Okay.
But that's at Saturday, Sunday. I knew, I had heard they were going to spill some of these things. I knew it. I heard it. As to how, I don't know. But it tells you that gradually, it tells you that most of the people there had this information. The leadership and the systems have told you that they consulted all the stakeholders. As for the effect of the spillage, we cannot talk about the effect until it happens. Then you do what assessment of the effect, you keep recording of the effect, then it will tell you which exact relief item you must take there. I don't know if you understand the point I'm making.
I do.
You cannot say that, okay, I'm going to spill, so I anticipate that when I spill, they will need roofing. When you spill and it doesn't even get to a point, you see that the roofings you bought will not be even useful. They are a category of items. So when you spill, you go and do an assessment of the effects. Then the assessment of the effect will direct you as to what to do. So I don't know why people are in a haste to, bastardize government, bastardize NADMO, bastardize VRA and all that. I don't know. Now,
so kindly before you continue.
Okay.
So when the caution comes out from VRA, when they do that already, these people have established themselves, their lives and everything in these areas. What do they expect them to do? How do they expect these people to react?
Okay, so first and foremost, these are natural issues. And most often than not, you cannot determine how these natural issues will turn out. My checks and my information is telling me that this exact thing, or this, degree of spillage, or degree of effect, happened 50 years ago.
Yes.
So it tells you that, one cannot expect some of these things like that. These are families too that have established, have set up.
Yes.
So it is difficult to say that I am relocating all of you to where. So first and foremost, some of these questions will come. We will be about spilling this dam. People who are close by this place should move and relocate to a point. When it comes and you are not affected, you come back. When you are affected, then we begin to look at the next alternative. So these are how some of these spillages are done. VRA will quickly inform the DCs. Sometimes, when I was a young boy, they normally use these information vans to go through Akusumu, Atipoku, Japon, North Town, South Town. They do this information vans. I don't know. It's been a while now. I don't know if these information vans are still working. And now we have social media. We have all those things. So, information is quickly disseminated within a space of time. So, like VRA said, they have informed the people. Now, you do not expect them to move. You would caution them so that they would also find a space to be in a comfortable place so that lives are not lost, properties are not destroyed. After the event, we assess the properties or the extent of damage and find a solution to it. These are how some of these things largely are managed. So it is too hasty, it is too quick to want to blame government and be casting all these things. And I don't understand. As at yesterday, from Tuesday, I think, as at Tuesday, I knew there were meetings with all the DCs, NADMO, and then VRA. I knew there were meetings with some of the members of parliament on this matter. So I don't get it. Now, he quickly mentioned Sierra Leone had an issue and we rushed to go and support them. I don't know if you remember, I'm still trying hard to get, there was this country that had an earthquake. It was President Mills, the late President Mills. He took about 3 million from Ghana's coffers to go and support them. Do you remember that incident? Yes. No, don't worry. So countries, and don't forget that Ghana is also part of the international system. And some of these things, sometimes when we also have issues, you remember the Circle disaster.
Yes.
You remember the African country that brought us money to support them. I think either Togo or something. They brought us money to be given to the victims. Do you think Togolese have solved all their problems in Togo? So what is the point you are making? So I don't sometimes get some of these things. Now, he's talking about the neglect of the party to voter region. Again, I don't get it. You, look, the Keta Sea defense he mentioned. Ask him who built the Keta Sea defense. It was Kufuor. President Kufuor did the Keta Sea defense. It wasn't Mills. It wasn't Rollins. Even Rollins, who is from Volta region, Rollins didn't do it. Mills didn't do it. Muhammad didn't do it. It was Kufuor, NPP. When we want to go into the details and look at the contribution of NPP and NDC, even in their own voter region, you'll be amazed. And even at a point sometimes, our strongholds are complaining why we give attention to voter region and we ignore them. So I think the best and the fairest point you can make is not to tribalize this, regionalize this. This is a country issue. There are people who have been affected who are not in voter region. Eastern region. Esojama is not a voter region. Esojama is Eastern region. The people along the Esojama area, they are not votarians. Or they are not voter region, they are Eastern region. So if you are quick to say voter region, they are not, it tells you clearly that these people are just, bent on trying to find something as a propaganda machine and say something there. But you see, to run the tap, they are my people. I have stayed in Northtown before. I've stayed in Esojama before. So they are my people. I understand the hardship. Yesterday, I watched videos and excerpts of them. And I know that this is so unfortunate. Yeah,
it's very disheartening.
Yeah, so unfortunate. I don't know whether the right word to say is to sympathize with them. I will empathize with them. I will say sorry. And the word they understand is Babanao. So I would say Babanao to them. And I will pray that life will not be lost. I'll pray that some of these things, the properties we are talking about, will be properties that easily we can replace, easily we can help them find them. The livelihood that some of them will be losing, I'm praying that there will be a point that we can come intervene and set them up again so that they can bounce back to life. I also caution, and I also plead to the general public, those that are well-to-do, who can also help and support. I know, in my place, for instance, 500 cedis can set up somebody up for a business. Somebody is doing a whole Indomie business that the total sum of the capital is not even up to 100 cedis. And so I've been up to 1,000 cedis. Some of this flooding or spillage can take away somebody's business.
Yes.
I am pleading that some of the people that can support should go in there and reset some of these people up, help them, community. All of us can put together, not only government. Government too, I know. That is why I'm not even talking about government more. Because I know what government is planning. The meetings that they had us at yesterday, their MPs and other people were part of the meeting. So I know what they intend to do. But that wouldn't be enough. That cannot take care of everything in that area. So I'm pleading that civil service, NGOs and other people can also come in and support the good people of some of the 9 regions that have been affected, so that at least life will bounce back after this spillage. Now, I am not
that it wouldn't even repeat itself. I was even thinking.
As for not repeating itself, we cannot promise. Okay. You know why? I am looking at how we can best set up another dam that would be a sort of reservoir for the overflown banks, overflown water levels.
To flow into that.
I am looking into the future.
Okay.
So that we set another bank, so that, you see, the Akosomo Dam, it was redirected to create that dam.
Yeah.
So it means that we can also do something. The engineers can think through something, so that in cases where it overflows like this, we redirect it to supply another dam. I don't know if you get it. It's technical, it's science. So I myself, I'm not clear, but I know that something like that can be done.
Okay.
Because I remember when we had a meeting with the Moroccans, they were proposing ways and means that we can redirect some of these things.
Okay.
And I believe that government should look into some of these things, so that in future, instead of spilling to cause some of this havoc, we will rechannel the water into a productive use, so that we won't come back to be discussing the spillage over and over again.
Exactly, because it keeps on happening.
Yes, it keeps on happening.
Right.
As for the spillage, it will happen because these are natural causes. Sometimes we have a heavy downpour.
No, I am even talking about the people being displaced.
Yeah, sometimes we have heavy downpour.
Yeah.
So you cannot control some of these things.
Okay.
So we should move in and look at the technology where instead of spilling, we redirect it to serve another purpose, which will be also productive to the country and to some good people. So these are the areas that I'm looking at. And I am appealing to every stakeholder. VRA need to come in. Like I know they are coming in. Government, I know. NADMO, I know. The District Assembly, everybody should be up and doing on some of these matters, so that the people will know that, look, we are not just reneging on our duties. We are not just sleeping over their plies. but we are actually acting and working to make sure that we alleviate them from some of these natural disasters, so that they will also have some safe homes and sound places to be comfortable.
Okay, so we have some comments, but before we do that, do you think that a month ahead, a month of time, 1 month to the time of the spillage, for example, is enough time to give these residents to think of a place to go to, think of a place to lay their heads, or think of a place to put some of their very valuable valuables? Do you think 1 month is enough?
Possible, but you see, sometimes even the engineers, the technical men are not able to be certain on some of these things. You see, when it is full to a limit and it outgrew its limit, then we speak. You may anticipate that, okay, the way this time it is raining, it is likely to.
Because this entire year is been raining.
We might make some projections. It will happen that you anticipated the rain to come in June, July. It didn't come. So I agree.
Okay.
But it is also good to pre-inform the people to know that, look, it is possible that within this space there will be a spillage. So even if I have some valuables, I won't keep it here. Let me go and keep it somewhere. If it doesn't happen, I'll bring it back. If it happens, I am safe.
Right.
So I agree perfectly.
Okay.
And I don't speak for VRA, but I want to believe that VRA will do something like that, because it will be irresponsible on their part not to do something like this. I don't know if you get it.
Okay.
Because VRA has so much competence and experience to know that this is the effect of some of their spillage. So I believe and know that they will do some of these things. If they don't do it, then we'll call them out. It will be extremely irresponsible on the part of VRA not to do this.
Okay.
I know that the NADMO officers there too, it is their duty to periodically be sensing and looking at some of this and advising the district assemblies that, hey, look, you are building here, it is not helping. District assembly, you are building on this water period, you are building on this part, you are building on, it's not helping. All these stakeholders need to come in. There are points where even in Accra, you find a whole clear water path. And now, some people are blocking the water path to build and construct their building.
Sometimes we are, even the people are the issue.
It might not necessarily happen to, it might not necessarily be this spillage in the Volta area.
Yeah.
But sometimes you build, you know that this is a water path, a waterway. That is where we want to
have decided to build.
So it's a problem. So we all need to look at some of these
Yes.
things. But I believe that, like you said, a proud notification and information is the best in some of this disaster management system. But it is also incumbent that when you are forewarned or when you are given information ahead, you must also act on it. Sometimes you will give the information and the people would feel that, oh, don't worry, okay, I'll do it tomorrow. Oh, no, before you realize it is here.
Yeah.
So it is one thing giving the information, and it is another.
The people
also acting on the information that has been given to them.
Okay.
Then we can both come to a point and say that we are helping each other. But when I give you the information and you also don't act, we'll come back to the same space.
Okay.
So, yeah.
All right. So it's time for us to take some comments. Still send in your comments, and I'll definitely be reading them on here. So let's take our very first one. This is from Aaron Babakoko Komisa. Good morning to you. The practice of democracy has given us access to allow the ordinary citizen to participate in the governance process, to avoid the practice of autocracy, to eliminate any elements that may lead to divide and rule and what have you. My point is that, as our fathers put it, which is so by all democratic grounds, that the pen is mightier than the sword, which stands to reason that we must avoid any elements of grounds that may lead to bloodshed or strong animosity. We should not also forget that the media is the most powerful tool. We must not underestimate the other organ of government, must ensure that we have free press. Network houses are able to inform, educate, and entertain. Okay, thank you, Aaron. Richard Mensah says, good morning. Inflation is now 38.1% from 53%. Interest rate on personal loans also reduced to 25.5%. Several micro and macro indicators projects further reductions and better living conditions in 2024, all things being equal. The NPP is performing excellently. We are praying against unforeseen circumstances to terminate it. Fee, Presby Quarters, Takrady. Thank you very much. Mahamudu Sulemana says, tell Comrade A.A. Gafar to stop his propaganda. Northeast has the least inflation rate in all the 16 regions. And I think, Gafar, you still wouldn't agree?
That's absolutely right. The fellow hasn't read the, the data.
Okay. Good morning, Joy Prime. NDC communicators need to be proactive in their submissions. The current government has failed. The economy is bad. Supporting protests become their mandates, at least for once. Let them, NDC, suggest what the government should do to help the affected persons. This country was given to them before. What did they do with it? So complaint from Williams Kofi Aholete inside K2 South. Good morning. Inflation is now 38.1% from 53%. Interest rate on personal loans. Okay, so this is the same one from Fee. Read this one. Brenda Ichidoko says, good morning, Prime Morning. It's a beautiful day. Indeed, it is a beautiful day, but a pretty sad one for the people around who live around the Akosombo Dam. All right. So let's move on to our next topic for discussion. Still keep your messages coming in. My guests today for Newsflash, Comrade A.A. Gafaru and Nana Kwame Asafoiche are seated with me this morning.
Opportunity to do some rebuttal.
Sorry?
Some 1 minute to do some rebuttal.
Okay.
Very important.
Few seconds, then we move on to the next topic because we have to move on.
Thank you so much. Let me use these very few minutes to actually dismiss the palpable lie that Asafoiche has peddled. You know, he rather is not privy to the information. And let me emphasize that the spillage didn't happen a day and the next day they went for any relief item. In any way.
No, but he corrected himself.
Yes, I did research. So he was saying I wasn't current. And I'm saying he isn't current as well. I did my research and it hasn't been published widely. You know, I have not taken time to check the NADMO page, but it hasn't been published widely. Even your own station made mention that sent me the link and I read it. They made mention that the displacement has occurred over a week. It started over a week, not just yesterday. I hope you are getting it.
Yes.
So the NADMO failed even if they had done it yesterday because they wouldn't have waited for that long. And with regards to the Keta Sea defense, you don't sit on national television and give a palpable lie. Look at this. Just Google it to help you. Look at what it is saying with regards to the Keta Sea defense. The construction of the 41 million euro sea defense began in October 2010 and was projected to be completed by December 2011, but was completed in October 2014. And of course, that's the first phase. The first phase for the construction of the defense, also known as the Blikosu project, started in 2015 and was completed. Look at the controversy. His own minister, he's not aware, came out with such controversy. And look at what they said. That's NAPO current energy minister. When minority, raised issues and had given pressure to Parliament, to the finance minister, to make sure that he budget to continue the second phase of the Keta Sea defense. Look at what he said. That was in December 2021. Matthew Opoku Prempeh, in a video that went viral on social media, was alleged to have said he would lead a demonstration in Kumasi if Ken Ofori-Atta, the Minister for Finance, accepts the requests of the minority in Parliament concerning the sea defense project. The public condemned him of being insensitive because that was, tribal bigotry. I hope you are getting it. So if you actually would give yourself time to check this, you don't sit on national television to, give that palpable lie or peddle the lie that you started it. Of course, you didn't start it. You even reneged on your duty to continue the second phase. And your minister, your own education minister, went on that tangent to say that he would demonstrate against if finance minister, allocate money for that. So please, Asafoiche, you have to address yourself with some
Okay, Gafaru. Right, all right. Thank you for that. So let's move on to the next topic for discussion.
Why are you moving on to the next topic?
Okay.
This is Kweku Bako.
And Fourth Estate equally dismissed that. Read Fourth Estate. They equally came out and dismissed the fact that it is lie, NDC started.
May I see?
You see, the point is clear. This Kyerematen defense issue has gone back and forth and back and forth. Rawlings even made the whole facts about it. Then the facts was checked, communicated, announced. How Kufuor? So you see, I would agree to some extent that portions of the defense and part of it, because when you say the sea defense is a whole line, and sometimes you cut across a lot of communities.
I'm talking about first phase.
Oh. So you see,
okay.
This record is there. And
right,
you are not today coming to
I wouldn't want us to dwell so much on this particular topic. We need to move on and finish up the rest of the topics. So the next topic for discussion is that the Conference of Heads of Assisted Secondary Schools, abbreviated CHAS, has petitioned the government to allow SHS students to purchase their own food items. And this is as a result of delay when it comes to disbursement of funds to purchase food items to give to the senior high schools. And CHAS says that they have reiterated this to government countlessly, that allow the senior high schools to purchase their own foods, which is the students, to pay for their own food items so that these foods can be proper foods can be prepared for the students. But government hasn't really given attention to that, and so they have come back again and they are saying that government should allow SHS to purchase their own food items. What do you make of this? I know that quite a number of schools have complained over time of shortage of foods. So the semester can begin. Gentlemen, please, I hope you are paying attention to me.
Please. Oh. I mean, it is a national TV.
But we are moving on.
I get it. This is a national TV. When you get the impression as though Asafweje don't know what he's saying, he's lying, you kindly read this.
Which parts? President John Mahama triggered the controversy with his claim that the New Patriotic Party did nothing for the people of the Volta region in its 8-year tenure.
Yes.
That claim did not sit well with ex-President John Kufuor, who hit back in equal measure, accusing the sitting president of dishonesty. Mr. Kufuor, in chronicling the many achievements of the NPP, mentioned the Kyerematen defense project, which he said was successfully completed under his tenure in 2004.
Who started?
Relax. This is Kufuor himself speaking.
This isn't factual.
What is factual? You read something, you are telling me it's not factual. I am telling you, I'm showing something. You are telling me it's not factual.
The first phase.
You started what? 2004. When did
and I can mention the amount of money.
What did you start?
So
it was supposed to be $100 million.
What did you start?
Yes. Well, that's fine.
Nana Kwame,
let's go.
Please, we've moved away from this topic.
That's fine.
All right.
The public will decipher the truth.
No, but the information is clear.
Yes, so the public...
It's clear.
Right, thank you. Thank you very much for the information. So I was saying that the Conference of Heads of Assisted Secondary Schools has petitioned the government to allow senior high schools to purchase their own foods. Their own food items, and this comes as a result of a problem in relation to disbursements of funds from the government to purchase food items to be distributed to the various senior high schools. And over time, there have been massive complaints from senior high schools and even students anytime they vacate and go home, and they are always talking about the fact that there is shortage of foods in school. They can eat gobe and kenke for more than 1 week, the same meal for more than 1 week, because there are not enough foods to be given to these students. Sometimes they are given tea without bread. Sometimes they are given tea without sugar and milk because of shortage of food. And now this is what CHAS is saying. The government should allow senior high schools to purchase their own food items. And so it has to be, so I think that CHAS is trying to say that it will end up being like, parents would have to pay to feed their children in these senior high schools. And so Nana Kwame, I am coming to you first.
Thank you.
This looks bad, doesn't it?
I have had, and today this point of mine will be my personal opinion on the party's position.
Okay.
But the CHAS program happened yesterday. So I think by midday, the ministry buffer stock and the agency involved in supplying food for the schools will respond and would give us some records. So then that would throw more light on the issues. Now, we had a heated argument on our secondary school page. The bottom line is that...
Secondary school, was that?
Akwangumai.
Okay.
The bottom line is that even when we were paying school fees, we paid the school fees. That was not government intervention. When we were paying our school fees, we knew some of the food we were eating in the schools. We will go to dining hall and we'll see some of the food we are eating. We had categories of students too in the school, where some of them, because of the nature and the background they are coming from, some of the foods are not food they would even want to eat.
Yes.
And such a student will go and tell the parents that he doesn't like the food in the school. We knew some of the students too that, the kind of food that were served at the dining hall was our Kempeski back in where we come from. Are you getting that? What is the bottom line? The bottom line is the group of people, the caliber of people, the orientation and all that. I know that this system of the government, where we came in to support to introduce the senior what do you call it?
The free SHS?
The free SHS and the school feeding program had some hitches here and there because of the central pool that controls the disbursement of the food. Because of the bottlenecks in the procurement and logistical bureaucracies. Because again of some institutions' interest in procuring and all those things that happen. So we have had some backlash on some of these things. I have heard when Charles would say that there is no food in the school, then the ministry will come and give you records of food that have been sent to the school. Then Charles will say there is no, headmaster will say there is no food.
Yes.
Then the buffer stock will come and give you records of foods that are
even if the foods are disbursed to them, it's not enough.
That's the point I'm making.
The longevity of it
you see, it is clear that some of these stories depends on who is saying the story and who is believing the story. Yes, some of this story depends on who, because look, there were times that they mentioned a certain school that there is no food in the school. I watched the show on one of your sister stations. A young man from their cohorts showed a picture to the host, and the host quickly gave it to the producer to show it. In fact, we watched the picture. There was no name of the school. There was no sign to give you an indication of which school. And then the GES called into the station to show them, in fact, pictures of food and records. And the headmaster of that school came to speak. So that is the point I'm making here. That I would wait, because I know that buffer stock has been sending food. Yes, there might be a delay one way or the other. That one I understand. I am not faulting them. Some of them will urge them to do it on time and make sure that there are more and available food for us, our brothers in the school. I agree. But some of them too are mischief. We see some of the pictures, and then some of you would even go and inquire on social media. It is not even in Ghana. So I am seriously advocating that, look, some of these issues must be discussed dispassionate of politics. Dispassionate of politics.
Okay.
Let us delve into the issues. Look, when I was in secondary school, it is the school that will go and procure the cloth, our school uniforms, our socks, everything, and come and sell to us. Of course, the school will make profits. Now, the school is not doing that again.
Yeah.
It is the central ministry that is doing that and supplying to all the schools. You think the people who are using the system will be happy? You think they will be happy? They will not. Of course, they will have issues with it. There were times where headmasters would be buying food in installments, in this and that and that. Of course, we all know that there are other bits and business part of it. Now the central bank, the central pool is taking all the supply and doing it from their end or from their slots. Definitely, people will not be happy with this arrangement. But how do we move forward as a country? Is the individual procurement and disbursement the best, or the central pool is the best? Who is talking? I get in that. Because if the CHAS, the headmaster, is talking, you should know and understand the interest he's coming with. I get in that. You should know and understand the interest he's coming with. Now, headmasters, forgive me, I may be wrong. Headmasters, some of them are not happy with the system.
Obviously.
Yes, because of some of the reasons I've mentioned. And such headmaster will do everything to make you believe that that system is not the best. Some of them too are okay. So they will also promote it. I have watched series of videos. And sometimes you ask yourself, is it the same Ghana? Because this one is saying A and this one is saying B, and they are they are two sharp oppositions.
Are you trying to say that some headmasters, some heads of schools are trying to make it look like the free SHS and that whole policy isn't good?
We've gone past this discussion. We've gone past this discussion. Yes, we've gone past this discussion.
So that's what you're saying now?
Yes, we've gone past these discussions.
Okay.
Yes. But you see, the bottom line or the basis of my presentation is that I know that some of these issues are not as it is as they are depicting it. They are not. And I can tell you with all certainty, maybe I cannot put figures and records to it. But the institution that is responsible will put figures and records to it. But I'm telling you that be cautious of where you listen to and who you are listening to, because we best say interesting.
But when you have some students coming out to attest to the fact,
and I'm telling you that when we were in school, forgive me, senior, I didn't mention your name. We had a guy called Lumo.
Okay.
He goes to the dining hall, eats the palm nut soup that day, and he will tell you that this palm nut soup is the best. Not even his mother can prepare this palm nut soup. And my mate will corroborate this story. You find Agnes eating the same palm nut soup and you vomit throughout the whole day. So the students who are testifying, there's not enough basis to conclude on the matter.
I see.
I tell him, yes, I mean, look, we've had this discussion. Look, I am telling you, those times, it wasn't government that is giving us free food, though.
Yes.
We were paying.
We were paying. Yes.
We were
my
paying.
time, we're paying as
and
well.
And let us be fair to ourselves. Some of us who are watching and having, look, when we were even paying, not all the food in the dining hall that we go, we would be happy with it and we would like it. Not all of them. There are times we go, it is jollof and chicken, the best for everybody. I get in that. Then sometimes you go, it is beans and gari. Some will like it, some will not like it. In fact, some would even, the ladies, some of them will be doing some shakara. They will abandon the food.
Sometimes we would even add shito to
they will abandon the food, and then that is when they leave. We, the boys, will go and take the food and take it to the dining hall. That will be, you see, so hold on. So everybody, and so if you find me, or if you find such students talking about the food, it is different. If you find the Dadabis talking about the food, it is different.
It's different.
So if you listen to the Dadabis, but you see, I would encourage, I will encourage that let us all get into the bottom of these issues. You are a media house, devoid of what my brother is coming to say, the speaking note that have been given to him that is coming to say, and devoid of what I have also said. You should go behind the two of us and have the issues on the ground. So when you are putting the issues on the ground at bay, then what we can do is to correct or amend our speaking notes and then call on those who are supposed to act.
I have a sister who actually graduated senior high school just last year. And she did say that there were times that there was shortage. There was shortage of food.
And I'm telling you that, you see, I have not sit here to say that there have never been shortage of food.
And looking at the fact that now there's free SHS, so now it's making the numbers that are going into senior high schools even more than it used to be before.
I am not arguing with you. I get it.
Okay.
I am not arguing with you. What I'm trying to say is that, look, even your father, who is providing for a small nuclear family, would have times he would tell you that, then I'll come back to you maybe tomorrow. It happens. Not when a government is taking care of over 500 to 600 secondary schools.
Okay.
I get it. So that there will be delays in sometimes. If the car is moving product from Accra or the capitals to the schools, there will be delays. So I agree there are delays. I'm not arguing the delays. I'm not.
Okay.
Some of these issues, I'm not arguing them. I am saying that the exaggerations of the situations and the time politicization of the situations, they are my problem.
So sometimes it might not even be it, but they are just...
When NDC was in government, when John Mahama was in government, I don't want to do that, but I know the speaking, so I would... When he was in government, the entire northern region, because of food, were closed down. They were closed down. When they were in government, the deaf and dumb schools, for about 2 to 3 years, so some of these things, when we want to politicize this, we can do the politics of it. But I'm saying that let us go into the matters, like Charles has said, and they made that call at the highest point because the president was there. So I believe the president will listen. The Ministry of Education, everybody, the stakeholders that matter were sitting, so they know. So I am a headmaster. I feel that it is better for you to give me the food. Let me control the supply of the food in my school. It is in my interest. You are also saying that you want to control the food and the supply from the region or from the national. It is also in your interest. We will argue about it. The stakeholders will sit down and they will trust the issues out. Okay, why do you want to control the food from your school? I want to control the food from my school because I think I will have the choice to, I will have the power to make choices, decisions. I mean, timely and all that. I can have that. But if you are deciding for me, it will take time. You will do this, so let's sit down. Okay. So it is because the food are not coming early. It is because so now we will do this, we will do this, we will do this. That is how we solve this matter. And but when we want to go into politics, okay, let me listen to my brother. I'll come back.
Exactly. So yeah, Gafaru, please, you have the floor.
You see, I understand the dismissive nature of my brother's communication this morning, and then also he's not speaking to facts. He's only conjecturing, and then labeling headmasters as technically NDC members or other party members, and of course students are people who are NDC members. Because of course we've heard him say that those people perhaps they don't like the government, so they would do whatever they would to malign the government. You see, when people come and then they leave facts and they go on this tangent, understandable so. That is what they are asked to come and do. And thankfully, I'm happy and I pride myself that I'll be given speaking points to come here and speak, provided they are factual. And of course, they are factual because when I speak, I know the very people who are watching you, your cherished viewers, will decipher the truth. I mean, let me very fast dismiss this erroneous impression that they brought, free SHS policy. No. This is a constitutional provision. And I read Article 25 of the Constitution. So
you are not tired of something?
Excuse me, pardon me. Article 25 of the Constitution, Clause 1B. What does this say? It stipulates secondary education in its different forms, including technical and vocational education, shall be made generally available and accessible to all by ever appropriate. That's the operating word. By ever appropriate means, and in particular by the progressive introduction of free SHS, unquote. This is a constitutional provision that says we should progressively move towards free SHS and do it, right? The Constitution, the framers of the Constitution, in their unquantifiable wisdom, realize that there must be basis. You must build from somewhere before you get somewhere. There must be a foundation. And that's why they didn't say do free SHS. They say do it and build it progressively. Rome was not built in a day. And that is why H.E. John Dramani Mahama introduced progressively free senior high school, where he started building about 200 community senior high schools, where he completed 46 E blocks, right? to accommodate. And of course, he started by accommodating and giving 320,000, 320,000 plus students who started day school with free SHS, progressively free SHS. So of course, when these people came to power, with their mantra of coming out with free SHS, we admonished them. We studiously admonished them to continue the progressively free SHS of his H.E. John Dramani Mahama. But our advice met an arrogant, obstinate refusal by these all-knowing people. They rejected it outrightly. And when they started it, and then the obvious challenges started emerging, we revisited, advised them, review it. And you know what? They ridiculously went on a tangent to say that review as we are positing means cancellation. And indeed, our impotent and then certainly clueless president went on campaign trails, campaigning on this, saying that John Dramani Mahama wants to come to power and cancel free SHS. His understanding and his vanguards, their understanding of review. That's the arrogance of these people. Their president did that, or our president did that, and campaigned against us, and unsuspecting Ghanaians believe that. Today, we know how the challenges are facing them. It is not surprising that leading members of the party, NPP, themselves came out and said they must review, or they should review the free SHS. Professor Frimbom Poatin is on record to have said they should review free SHS. Now, it doesn't mean cancellation. His Excellency President Akufo-Addo equally stated that they would have to look into free SHS. That's to review it. Now, after winning election 2024 with that ridiculous, posturing and remarks, review doesn't mean cancellation anymore. That's how ridiculous these people are. Look, today, those obvious challenges, we are facing them. Worsening food crisis, and now they don't even have a fixed academic calendar. They stand here and then they decide to dismiss students because there's no food. It has been on record severally that they have dismissed students because there is absolutely no food to feed the students, no money to purchase food to feed students. People or students in SHS had to resort to sleeping in abandoned toilets, and it was published all over the country in Ghana school.
Okay, so
that's
please pardon me. You don't need to step in. Please, you'll be given the opportunity. Pardon me.
Okay.
Look, I remember clearly.
They had to sleep, and there were videos to that effect.
You don't have to let it go.
There were videos to that effect. It's not that it was just an allegation. There were videos to that effect. Well, other people came out with the view that they have never used it for toilet, but they were meant for toilet, or others will say they were used but closed and was renovated. Which one, any other way you would believe? The fact is that students are not supposed to sleep in any cubicles, with congestion, which was meant for toilets. No. That's the obvious truth that they fail to understand. And currently, as we speak, they have created a mess in our education sector.
And so in that particular story, we also had some students coming out to say that that particular space was only used to keep their chop boxes, their trunks, and then all that. And so usually in senior high schools, when you're vacating, some decide to keep their stuff still in the school. So you are given a place to keep it. Some students even ended up coming to say that as well.
In fact, this was reported by the media. I didn't say it. It was reported by the media who went and covered it. There were videos.
But the story
maybe you are impugning on the integrity of your fellow journalists.
And at the end of the day,
yes,
it was cleared that was totally
it was stated. So as to whether it's in fact true. No. You see. There's one thing.
I remember clearly. I
was here.
Let me proceed.
Oh, you were here.
I was here.
Let me proceed.
No, don't proceed. Deal with this matter.
I beg you. It is about
you listened
when you were speaking. I was here.
It was clear because I remember speaking to some of the heads of the school. Yes, and then they did say that it was untrue.
You withdraw that and you make another point.
Look, whatever the case is, as to whether the veracity of the reportage is, right or otherwise, that is left up to the public and people who live within the surrounding or within the school.
We help the public know the truth.
No,
so,
what is
which was the
truth?
fact that
is it the one?
Because the authorities of the school, after interviewing them, they did come out to clear the fact that whatever that was being reported was not true.
Intimidation.
And then even out of that,
can you imagine?
And let me make this point.
And
look,
even out of that,
let's say that. Let me leave that point for the benefit of time.
Okay, thank you.
Let me leave that point. But the outsiders are watching. Look, look. With regards to these challenges, common academic calendar, cluelessly, they are unable to come up with an academic calendar that has been, going on. And it took a whole Ministry of Education to form ministerial committee on academic calendar to come out with academic calendar.
Gafaro, you seem to be going too far.
No.
Please
come
closer.
SHS.
Please come closer because we are talking about.
No, he's speaking.
Is that not part of the challenges of free SHS as we advise them?
No, we are not.
Look.
Trying to look at the whole policy surrounding free SHS.
It's not far-fetched. Listen, it's not far. Can you control him? He seems pensive. He's agitated. He can't even listen to the facts.
Are you pensive, Nana Kwame? He's fine.
Let me go on. When you are speaking, you have a pen in front of you.
Yes.
Please go on. I'm saying
you
that
still have the floor.
This is about free SHS, a challenge, a major challenge in free SHS, food shortage. And of course, Charles is saying that he allowed them to do that. So I am taking the opportunity to, elaborate on many challenges that are obvious, that of course we as a party, visionary as we are, we advise them against.
Okay.
That is what I'm saying. So it's not far-fetched. I hope you are getting it. Listen, apart from the academic calendar, it took this even common textbooks they don't have over 3 years. They are not able to provide textbooks. That is what we are talking about. You mentioned it here. You stated it here when you were moderating what he was saying. That some of the schools could take on a single meal continuously. Why were we doing that? This could lead to, this what do we call it? Malnutrition. And of course, malnutrition affects the IQ level of students. That's what we are talking about. Okay. So there are cascading effects. There are adverse effects to this, what is happening. And the better we admit it to, those happenings, that will be good for us. Okay. I hope you are getting it.
Okay.
So look, free SHS.
So how many minutes are we
free? Oh, you have spoken for more than 30 minutes. I have not said anything. Please control yourself.
How long is the program?
Can you kindly speak to him so that I would speak to him? Look, with this kind of free SHS, victimization, as he has stated that some headmasters who spoke about it, is perhaps people who are not content with what is happening with this administration.
Or are being mischievous.
They are being mischievous. These people have gone on, it's on record that they have victimized headmasters. One example is the former La Presec headmaster, who came out and spoke about broken furniture, spoke about absence of bunker beds to admit the student they were posting to his school. What did they do? This government vilified and then went ahead to interdict him, and even went ahead to transfer him, using him as a scapegoat, and the others they interdicted, using them as scapegoats to stifle other potential headmasters who would have come out to equally speak to these very issues.
Okay, so can we please come to the foods?
Yeah.
Because we have little time.
So with regards to the foods,
with
regards to the foods,
yes, please.
I would agree with the call by Charles leadership.
So you agree?
I would agree. Because, and this hasn't been the first time that they have called for this. They have been calling for this, not today, not yesterday, and certainly not just anytime closer. They have been calling for this over years. And government, because they know that through buffer stock, through their party boys who would take charge in distributing foods and get something out of it, as we know they would always do, they remain obstinate. They play deaf ear to this. brazenly disregarding whatever suffering that these students are going through. You know, not only that, as part of the food, they give us staple foods like beans, rice, maize, and others. What about the perishable? It is on record that they have complained severally that this government has always failed to give them what is due them, the money, the funds that they are supposed to use for perishables like tomatoes, like oil, onions, and others. And so sometimes it's not surprising that when the rice gets to the school, then they have only beans get to the school, they have only palm oil. They don't have perishables to now cook the rice with stew and others. Then they continuously feed the student weight. I mean, such beans continuously. That is repugnant. You see, we've never gotten this way. In fact, I read an article that suggested that Ghana is projected to fail the Sustainable Development Goal 4 as far as educational coverage is concerned. Today, you know, EduWatch, they have messed up our education, not just the secondary education. They have messed up our education to the extent that EduWatch stated that over 5,400 schools are under trees under this government. And your station, your own station, when you were doing your survey, you came out with a figure that a staggering figure of 2.3 million students who sit on the floor to write, to study. And at my backyard, at the backyard of the vice president, who happens to be my uncle, 34,000 students lie on the bare floor to write his backyard. He's desperately looking for, presidency. This is the person who wants to lead us. So, you see, you have failed in all spheres, and you need to accept that. You need to humbly accept that. Raise up or throw in the towel that you have failed Ghanaians. And Ghanaians are going through what they have never gone through under any government in this Fourth Republic or republics back. It has never happened. Yes, okay. You are fine. Your students will go to private school. So you don't care, you don't have problem, you have the ability, you perhaps take free coupon for fuel, you perhaps take free education for your students from government scholarships and others.
Okay.
But empathize with the ordinary innocent Ghanaians who doesn't have the wherewithal, who doesn't have the power to pay for their children to go to private institutions. That is what we are talking about. Okay. Governance is not all about yourself. It's all about empathizing and leading the people to solving problems, not to dismissing problems.
Okay, Gafaru. All right, Gafaru, thank you very much for your submission. We're actually pressed for time.
Where he ended
I'm also going to give the time to read. Where are you starting?
There isn't enough time.
There isn't enough time.
Government is supposed to help the people to solve their problem. There were two challenges in education in this country that we're all confronted with. One school of thought told everybody that the problem we are confronted with is a matter of infrastructure. For he hasn't seen any student or anybody who has money and cannot go to school. So he proposed to build 200.
That's not true.
200
That's obviously not true.
Please.
That was obviously not true. We never said
another school of thought
shouldn't go
was that no, it is not true.
Senior high, no.
He
then why did we roll the
that the challenge of Ghanaians not to access education is much of finance than any other thing.
Okay.
And that is how they propose the 200, and we propose the free senior.
You didn't propose. It's constitutionally stipulated.
Of course. There isn't enough time. So sorry about that. But we have some comments in relation to all that has been spoken so far on here. So let's read some of the comments. Alhaji Hamza Pikfam says, "Good morning, Madam. Truth be told, I am sad this morning. My heart bleeds for this nation. We were told by the president that he is ready ready to put his presidency online because of Galamsey. Madam, today look at what is happening to our water bodies and our forest. What happened to the Akonta Mining Company? There's a company belonging to the NPP Ashanti Regional Chairman. This company was caught destroying our water bodies and our forests, but nothing happened to him. What are we leaving behind for our future generation to come? I am not surprised about the comments of the AG. This report from Professor Frimpong Boateng was presented to the president for over 2 years. The president never acted on it until the report was leaked. I am at a loss this morning. Mr. President lacks the political will to fight Galamsey in this country. He has failed us big time. God have mercy. Good morning. Inflation is now 38.1% from 53%. Interest rates on personal loans also reduced to 25.5%. Several micro and macro indicators projects further reductions and better living conditions in 2024, all things being equal. The NPP is performing excellently. We are praying against unforeseen circumstances to terminate it. Fee Presby Quarters, Sakradi. Thank you. I happen to be at Keita, to be frank with you. The phase 1 of the sea defense started and finished in the NDC regime. To the grounds and verify. God changed us to speak the truth. Fatimatu. Okay? Good morning, Esiedua and your panelists. The NDC is always picked to play regional politics. They always create the impression that NPP and Votarians are enemies just for political gains. We are hoping that NATMO, government and VRA do all that they can to help them. Abdul Karim Zugulana from Gushegu. Okay. Good morning, Joy Prime. NDC communicators need to be proactive on their submissions. The current government has failed. The economy is bad. Supporting protests become their mandates. At least for once, let them, NDC, suggest what the government should do to help the affected persons. This country was given to them before. What did they do to it? So complained. This is from Williams Kofi Aholete, inside Ketu South. Richard Mensah says, good morning. Inflation is now 38. Okay, so read this one. Okay. All right, viewers, so thank you so much for being a part of News Flash right here on Prime Morning. This is where we end the conversations. My gentlemen have been very great at this. And so my guests for News Flash today have been Nana Kwame Asafwe J, Deputy Director, External Affairs, NPP, and Comrade A.A. Gafaru, Northeast Regional Communications Officer from the NDC. But then quickly, before we go, Nana Kwame, do you agree with the majority leader that Alan should be called back into the NPP? Briefly, quick answer, yes or no?
It cannot be a yes or no point.
It can't. Okay.
If he wants to come, I don't think anybody in the NPP
then let me answer yes or no.
Push him away, because nobody in NPP asked him to go.
Okay.
So if he wants to come, yes.
He's welcome.
It's a political party. You can go and come. It's like a church.
Yeah.
You can decide to backslide today, and tomorrow you want to reaffirm your faith to God, you can come back. So it's just like that.
Okay. Yeah. Right. Comrade.
They have berated him so much and undermined him. Push violence and then intimidation against the man. Why do they want anything?
I thought you said you were going to do yes or no.
The communicators, actually, their NPP communicators think that he's irrelevant. And they said he's not going to do anything. So why should they call him back again? In fact, the system candidate is coming. That's my uncle, Dr. Baumia. He's a system candidate. So...
You see?
Okay.
Let me say something. No, I want to say something briefly. You see, the NDC do not have the temperament for what we have.
Okay.
Ask them, when was the last time they had a competitive contest in NDC to select leadership? They don't have. After Rawlings, they went for the Swedo Declaration. They brought Mills. After Mills, look at... They have never had a competitive contest in NDC
competitive
before.
In this contest.
So they don't understand some of these things. Even when John Mahama was going on opposed, he was still fighting. No. There was still violence.
Competitive mustn't be.
So what's the point you're making?
Okay, Nana Kwame, thank you very much.
When the NDC go through 1/3 of what is happening in NPP, NDC will collapse.
We won't do that. We won't do violence.
Yes, because we don't have the temperament to do that.
Okay.
We don't. Okay. This is not a political party.
Okay, Nana Kwame and AA Gafaru, thank you so much for your time right here on Prime Morning. And viewers, thank you for your messages so far in relation to the topics that have been discussed during News Flash. And please make sure that you continue sending in your messages because we are not done yet. All right, so gentlemen, have a lovely morning. Right.
Thank you.
Okay, so this is where we end News Flash.